Sir, can we begin?
Yes, I feel with the kind permission of organizing chairperson, we can begin.
Yes, sir. Please start, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the day 3 of CPP 2025. We've already had 2 Power Park days of learning, insights, and great discussions. And today it's going to we are making more promises to take this energy forward. So the sessions today that are lined up will dive much deeper into the practical aspects of pharmacology in action. So what we learn theoretically in our academics, in our textbooks, we need to learn also how to apply it practically in our work and in the industry. So today's topics are effective medical writing techniques and best practices for pharmacologists, which will be delivered by Dr. Aanchal Gualani. And then the next topic at 5 will be translating academic knowledge into industry practice by Dr. Viraj Rajyadiksha. So let's get started and let's keep the curiosity alive and make this day 3 again engaging and memorable. So a request to all of you, please be focused here in the sessions. Keep your chats on mute and keep your phones aside and just focus on to the session. I am sharing the slide of our first moderator. Dr. Swapna Somesh Bolegave, who is the Principal Medical Writer, Global Medical Writing at Thermo Fisher Scientific. Dr. Swapna is now has been a member of PPT and is now which is now part of the Thermo Fisher Scientific Global Medical Writing team since June 2020. So prior to joining PPD, she has worked with SIRO Clinical Farm Private Limited from 2014 to 2020. So ma'am has a total of 11 years of experience in regulatory medical writing. As a principal medical writer, Dr. Swapna is responsible for analyzing, interpreting, distilling, and summarizing complex data concepts to present clinical messages in the regulatory documents. So she has experience authoring, supporting, reviewing protocols, informed consent documents, clinical study reports, investigator brochures, safety narratives, and integrated summaries, and clinical and non-clinical summaries and overviews. So ma'am has worked on phase 2, phase 3, and post-approval documents in variety of therapeutic areas, including cardiovascular, dermatology, endocrine, and metabolic, gastrointestinal, and hepatobiliary, genitourinary infections, musculoskeletal nervous system, oncology, ophthalmology, psychiatric, and respiratory. So that covers like literally on every other aspect in pharmacology. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Reshma.
Next, I would also like to invite and welcome our second moderator for today, Dr. Dinesh Badial. I'm sure most of you are already familiar with him. You'll have heard him on different occasions. Dr. Dinesh Badial is the professor and head of the Department of Pharmacology, as well as the vice principal at CMC Ludhiana. Sir his major achievements have been as a program director, CMCL FAI-MER Regional Institutor. He's a convener at NMC Nodal Center and a national convener, NMC Advanced Course in Medical Education. He's a member of the National Curriculum Committee, NMC. Sir is the chairman, pharmacology expert for the MBBS CBME 2024 curriculum. Sir has also been the convener, NMC expert for MD Pharmacology curriculum. He is also the editor-in-chief for the NJPT journal. Dr. Dinesh Badial sir has been awarded the Dr. APJ Kalam Memorial Oration, Dr. Rita Sood Memorial Oration, visiting fellowship by Jefferson University, Philadelphia, scholarship by German Academic Exchange Service, Professor G. Achari Oration, Shri Ganni Satyanarayana Memorial Oration, and M.L. Gupta Award. Sir has more than 180 publications and 4 books. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I now hand over to the moderators to welcome our speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Reshma. Before I introduce Dr. Achal and we proceed with the session, a gentle reminder to all the participants to please stay on mute, keep their videos off, and be attentive during the session. Note down your questions, post them in the chat because we will take all the questions at the end. Dr. Achal, who is our speaker today, she's an MD in pharmacology and is certified in healthcare management from IIM Calcutta with more than 8 years of experience in medical affairs across various therapeutic areas, including robotics. She has an extensive expertise in therapy shaping, Delphi and non Delphi consensus development, and phase 4 post marketing studies. She's skilled in compliant scientific communications aligned with UCPMP and IFPMA standards. She has delivered more than 200 healthcare professional programs, led multi country initiatives across India, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, and managed cross functional teams of up to 8 to 12 colleagues. She has over 10 publications in peer reviewed journals, including Lung India, International Journal of Community Medicine and Public Health, and Asian Journal of Cardiology Research. She has been recognized with over 7 Global Achievement Awards during her tenure at GSK and Abbott, and she is a past OPPI member for rare diseases. Welcome, Dr. Achal, and I request you to proceed with your presentation.
Thank you so much, Swapna, for that warm introduction. Please allow me a minute to share my screen. Can you confirm my screen is visible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, great. So, a very good evening to everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee members for inviting me to give this very, very interesting topic. Now, effective medical writing techniques, best practices for pharmacologists. You see, before we begin with the what, what is medical writing, its types, let's start with why it matters. Okay, medical writing is not just about putting words on paper, it bridges the gap between research and its application. For instance, a pharmacokinetic study may have precise results, but if the writing is unclear, a regulator may delay approval, or a clinician could misinterpret dosing guidance. Poorly written protocols can even cause study errors. So, why does it matter? Now, a research cycle is incomplete until findings are communicated. Publication advances science, informs clinical practice, and benefits our society. Yet, many studies never get published. In fact, in one analysis, only half of 600 trials were published, and those often underreported negative findings and adverse events. The reasons for non publication are very well known: lack of time, insufficient data analysis support, limited awareness of reporting guidelines, inadequate writing skills. Many researchers don't even realize that professional medical writing support is available, ethical, and often recommended by international guidelines. In fact, professional medical writers, especially those with a pharmacological expertise, can help analyze, structure, and present research so that it meets publication standards and reaches its intended audience, ensuring valuable findings aren't lost. So, what is the impact that medical writing can have on patient care and public health? When medical writing is done well, it directly shapes how medicine is practiced and understood. Clear reporting of adverse drug reactions in post marketing surveillance can lead to changes in prescribing guidelines. Similarly, a well written patient leaflet can empower individuals to follow treatment plans correctly. Clarity in communication strengthens public trust in healthcare, reduces misinformation, and ensures the patients receive accurate and actionable information. This, in fact, is very critical during public health crisis, like recently the one we faced, COVID-19, where misinformation spread rapidly. Accessible and accurate communication supports health equity by making sure information is usable for all audiences, from policymakers and clinicians to patients and caregivers. So, what is a pharmacologist's edge in medical writing? As a pharmacologist, we have a significant advantage. We don't just report results, we understand the why behind them. For instance, we know that a change in bioavailability can impact dosing strategy, or why an adverse effect may be linked to receptor binding. The depth of this knowledge allows us to contextualize our findings better than a generic medical writer. The challenge and the art is in explaining the complexity in language that is accurate but also accessible to our target audience. So, where does medical writing fit in the scientific ecosystem? Now, medical writing is a part of a larger scientific ecosystem. We are translators, advocates, and guardians of accuracy. Writing happens at every stage, from preclinical study reports and clinical trial protocols to regulatory submissions and post marketing safety updates. If you look at the drug development as a relay race, medical writing is the baton that passes vital information from one team to another without losing meaning or accuracy. Okay? So now let's try and understand the types of medical writing. The goal over here is to not get into theoretical knowledge and tell you what are the types because you do know that, but what is the role a pharmacologist can play across the board in medical writing. Okay, so let's take a deeper look at the different types of medical writing that we have. So, medical writing documents are helpful right across clinical research documents, regulatory, scientific publication, medical marketing deliverables, all of them. Medical writing is not a single career track. In fact, it's a diverse set of disciplines. In one role, you might be preparing for a clinical study report for a regulator. In another, you could be turning complex trial data into conference posters or a patient friendly FAQ sheet. Each niche demands a slightly different approach. For example, the precision and compliance needed in regulatory writing is very different from the creativity and accessibility required for patient education. In this section, let's go through different aspects of writings that are there. So, let's look at regulatory writing. Now, regulatory writing is one of the most high stake forms of medical writing because these documents we produce directly determine whether a new drug reaches the patient. In regulatory writing, precision and compliance are everything. You're producing documents that go to healthcare authorities such as the FDA, the EMA, or CDSCO in India, and these will determine whether a drug moves forward or gets rejected. Examples of these type of documents are a CSR, which is a clinical study report, which summarizes the trial design, conduct, and results. The investigator's brochure, which provides all the background data for investigators, CTD modules that standardize the data presentation. Pharmacologists are especially valuable here because regulators will often scrutinize the PKPD data, dose rationale, and safety margin, all areas where our expertise is critical. To succeed, pharmacologists must be well versed in the ICH guidelines, GCP guidelines, and other region specific requirements. Every document must be precise and consistent across sections and fully audit ready, with each statement traceable to its source. In this way, the pharmacologist's contribution can directly influence the speed and success of a regulatory approval, helping bring safe and effective therapies to patients sooner. In fact, errors and unclear explanations over here can delay approvals and trigger regulatory authority queries. Okay, let's look at scientific publications. Now, scientific publications, in fact, form the backbone of knowledge exchange in healthcare. And for pharmacologists, they offer a very unique platform to translate data into impact. Beyond simply presenting trial results, pharmacologists bring a critical ability to interpret data, whether it's pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic, dose response relationship, connecting them to the real world therapeutic benefit and risks. They ensure that efficacy endpoints are contextualized against safety data, that adverse events are not underreported, and findings are relevant to prescribing decisions. In conference, abstracts, posters, oral presentations, a pharmacologist can highlight the nuances such as drug-drug interactions, subgroup responses, biomarker correlations that might be otherwise overlooked. Therefore, mastery over the IMRAD structure keeps communication logical, while a deep understanding of therapeutic areas allows the discussion to link science with clinical application. Above all, pharmacologists safeguard the integrity of reporting, ensuring adherence to authorship guidelines, transparent conflict disclosures, ethical communication. This combination of scientific rigor, clinical insight, ethical responsibility ensures that publications are not just records of research, but tools for improving patient care and shaping future studies. So this is just an example of the type of cross functional role a medical writer and a regulatory writer have. Both of it, no matter which department or division you get into, they are cross functional roles. You have to connect and balance all the different departments because that's the type of high stakes documents that you're handling. Okay. Now, what about public or patient centric communication? So, when writing for a lay audience, the challenge is simplifying, but without oversimplifying it. If we say bioavailability is reduced by first pass metabolism, most patients will switch off. Instead, we might explain it as the medicine is partly broken down before it enters the bloodstream. That small shift makes information understandable and usable. However, effective lay communication is more than just swapping complex terms for simple ones. It's about maintaining the context, relevance, and tone. We must anticipate the reader's background knowledge, avoid unnecessary jargon, use analogies or everyday examples wherever possible. For instance, instead of saying hypertension increases cardiovascular risk, it would be better to say high blood pressure puts extra strain on your heart and blood vessels, making heart problems more likely over time. Pharmacologists here bring an important safeguard. Our scientific expertise ensures that simplification never drifts into inaccuracy. This is particularly important for patient facing material, such as disease awareness campaigns, discharge instructions, leave behind patient related posters, health related social media posts, where precision directly impacts safety and trust. We also need to be aware of the health literacy levels. So, the average reading age, at least for our country, should not exceed more than the 10th grade reading level. Visual aids, infographics, step up instructions, all of these enhance comprehension and retention. Finally, when it comes to patient centric communication, culturally sensitive language, translations into local language dramatically improve accessibility, especially in a multilingual country like ours. So, by mastering these skills, pharmacologists can help bridge the gap between cutting edge science and everyday health decisions, ultimately empowering patients and supporting shared decision making. What about doctor specific content? Over here, primarily, we focus on CME related content, but continuing medical education goes far beyond simply sharing the latest research. It's about delivering the right depth to the right audience in the right way so that it can lead to measurable improvements in patient care. Pharmacologists are, in fact, uniquely equipped to tailor the content for diverse healthcare professional groups, right from nurses, paramedical staff who may need more practical, protocol focused training to specialists and super specialists who require in depth analysis of emerging evidence, PKPD considerations, and therapy sequencing strategies. So, for nurses, for allied health professionals, we adapt scientific data into clear procedural guidance, highlighting the drug administration techniques, the adverse event monitoring, patient counseling points. For generalists and specialists, we have to integrate the real world case studies, guideline updates, safety efficacy trade offs to support sound clinical decision making. For super specialists, we bring in deeper analysis of subgroup data interpretation, mechanistic pathways, the implication of trial endpoints specifically for niche patient population. Our role is central even in pharma to ensure that medical affairs team can confidently discuss complex trial designs with sales teams, and sales teams can communicate within approved evidence-based boundaries. Every module, slide deck, case study we create is often underpinned with rigorous literature review, guideline alignment, data validation, so that the messaging remains scientifically robust, ethically compliant, and clinically relevant. Finally, CME does not end with the delivery. Often, pharmacologists always work on post training evaluations to assess the knowledge retention, shifts in prescribing behavior, and ultimately impact patient outcomes. So, let's look at this is the broad set of specialists or stakeholders, external stakeholders that we deal with. Now, let's understand promotional and marketing writing. This is a whole different gambit now. Here, you have to often shift gear from regulatory to marketing to HCP content all within a day. So, you have to, over time, shifting gear becomes easier. Okay, so what do we do in promotional writing? Over here, it's not just about delivering clever phrasing, it's about delivering persuasive, credible messages that withstand scientific and regulatory scrutiny. A truly impactful brochure or campaign always balances market appeal with factual integrity. For instance, if we highlight a therapy's rapid symptom relief, every claim must be anchored to peer reviewed evidence or data from approved prescribing information. This demands seamless collaboration with marketing teams, medical affairs, and regulatory experts. So, as pharmacologists, we serve as the scientific gatekeepers, ensuring efficacy claims are proportionate, safety data is communicated with equal clarity, and language aligns with both local regulations and international code of practice. We also anticipate how information might be interpreted by clinicians, patients, regulators, and we proactively prevent ambiguous, misleading impressions. In doing so, we protect the integrity of science and the credibility of the brand. Now, the next type is grant writing. Grant writing is a whole different style of writing. Grant writing is essentially persuasive science. You are telling a story out here. Here's the problem. Here's why it matters. Here's why our approach will solve it. And here's why you should fund it. A strong grant blends solid preliminary data, making a compelling case for impact. As pharmacologists, we can articulate a particular mechanism, drug target, trial design, and anticipate scientific questions reviewers might raise. This clarity and structure of our grant can make all the difference between approval and rejection. Now, coming to pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance writing is at the heart of a post marketing safety surveillance, ensuring that any potential risks associated with a drug are identified, documented, communicated in a clear and compliant manner. The work spans from preparing individual case safety reports to PSURs and DSURs that regulators require to assess ongoing benefit risk profiles. Pharmacologists are uniquely positioned to contribute here because of their ability to interpret complex pharmacokinetic and dynamic data. In risk management plans, we in fact provide the scientific rationale for proposed mitigation measures, while in signal detection reports, we bring critical evaluation skills to determine whether new safety information warrants action or not. So, this requires mastery of the GVP, ICH E2 series, and local specific PV guidelines. When done well, PV writing is not just about regulatory obligation, it's a vital safeguard for patients' safety worldwide. Now, let's look at the new opportunity which has come, freelance. Freelance medical writing has actually exploded, especially post pandemic. Many companies now work with remote medical writers, meaning you have clients across continents. The upside, variety, flexibility, ability to niche down or branch out. Downside, constant need to find new clients, manage variability of requirements. Although pharmacologists are uniquely equipped to manage this. So let's now understand the core principles of effective medical writing. What goes in it? First and foremost, the most important principle according to me is knowing who you're writing for. A regulator expects precise adherence to format and terminology. A clinician wants clinical implications. A patient wants to know what this means for their health. So, if I was to present a PK curve to a regulator, I'll show exact Tmax, Cmax values with standard deviations. For a patient, I might simply say the medicine reaches its strongest effect in about 2 hours. Same data communicated differently. The better we match our writing to the audience, the greater is the impact. The next thing, according to me, what matters is accuracy and scientific rigor. Accuracy is not negotiable in medical writing. An incorrect unit in a dosage recommendation can have serious consequences. That's why every figure, every abbreviation, every conclusion must be traceable back to its original data. We must resist the temptation to overinterpret. For example, never claim efficacy beyond its statistical support. It's very, very easy to turn around and say drug A is superior to drug B. However, if the study in question only proves non inferiority, that's a very dangerous claim. Okay? In pharmacology documents, PKPD values must match the data set. Consistency is also extremely critical. If you say once daily dosing in the abstract, make sure the body does not read twice daily. And believe me, these are very small, small errors, but you'll be surprised how often they occur. Okay? Next comes the clarity. Clarity is about ensuring the reader understands the first time. Conciseness is about doing it without wasting words. Long and tangled sentences often hide key messages. For example, instead of saying, due to the fact that the drug demonstrates significant first pass metabolism, the dosage may require adjustment. You can simply say, because the drug has significant first pass metabolism, the dosage needs adjusting. Same meaning, less clutter. Also, using an active voice often does help. The next thing is following a logical structure. IMRAD is your gold standard over here. A clear structure helps the reader navigate through your document. For research papers, IMRAN remains gold standard. Introduction sets your stage, method details the approach, results present the fact, discussion interprets them. Regulatory agencies often have strict templates, for example, CTD module numbering. Even in internal reports, logical progression matters. Background will always come before the data. Data has to come before the interpretation. And during your writing, signpost phrases such as in contrast to earlier findings or as shown in Table 3, they provide a guide to the reader through complex sections. Then comes data presentation. Data presentation makes or breaks the understanding. A well designed table or graph can communicate more in 10 seconds than a paragraph of text, but clarity is key. Labeling your accesses, including units, keeping the formatting consistent. Don't try to cram every data point into one figure. Focus on what matters. If you're talking about a pharmacokinetic curve, it should show clearly Cmax, Tmax points, relevant dosing timings. The same thing, same principles apply to safety data tables. Keep them clean and interpretable. Ethics. Now coming to the ethics. Ethics in medical writing is actually more than just protecting the integrity. It's also about maintaining trust. This means giving full credit to the original work, reporting results, even if they are negative, and being transparent about conflicts of interest. Selective reporting or cherry picking undermines credibility and can have real world consequences for patient safety. As pharmacologists, we are bound by GCP and ICH guidelines in regulatory, but there are other gold standards which have been set. So you have the consort, you have the prisma. Follow those guidelines for whichever study design you have followed. Okay, so where does a pharmacologist come in all of this? There are certain specific skills, okay, of certain, well, advantage a pharmacologist have. As pharmacologists, one of our most valuable skills is transforming complex data into visuals that tell a story. Whether it's a PK/PD curve, a dose response plot, or a mechanism of action diagram, clarity is critical. Labeling accesses with units, annotating the key PK parameters, visually marking therapeutic ranges. In dose response plots, connecting the pharmacological points to clinical meaning. In mechanism of action graphs, guiding your viewer by step through the pathway and avoiding unnecessary detail is very important. So, this is where pharmacologists excel, and ensuring that visuals are both scientifically accurate and intuitively understandable. Data presentation isn't complete until safety and efficacy are shown together. For safety, always align with the MEDRA terminology and regulatory expectations. Stay in a habit of separating your adverse events from serious adverse events for clarity. Include both percentages and counts, ordering by frequency, then bridge the science to practice, linking what it means in a real world use. Integrating safety and efficacy ensures decision makers have a balanced view. Pharmacologists play a key role in interpreting what data truly means for patients, clinicians, and future guidelines. So, let's now look a little bit at the tools that we have for our disposal. Well, this is just a snapshot. There are many, many apps and many tools available. MS Word remains the default writing platform for most medical documents, and learning its advanced features saves hours. Grammarly, PaperPal, Perfectly, these are very helpful in catching small grammatical errors and consistency errors. But be mindful, they should supplement and not replace your own review. Track changes and comments are vital for transparency and collaboration. Templates save time, especially in regulatory writing where formatting requirements are extremely strict. Always maintain version control. I have seen cases where the wrong version of data tables made it into submission, and that resulted in a rework or a retraction. For publication or regulatory submission, visuals also need to be refined. So you have platforms like Adobe Illustrator, PowerPoint, Canva that you can use for decorating, creating, as well as styling. Excel remains extremely useful for quick calculations and table creations. Whatever tool you are using, always maintain consistency in colors, scales, fonts across your document. Always try and export high resolution images because blurred figures, even in a regulatory file, triggers requests for resubmission. And guidelines remains your foundation for compliant writing. So ICH guidelines, you have the E3 for CSR, M4 for CTC, E6 for GCP. Then you have the GCP principles, which are critical for ethical conduct and documentation. For publications, you have the consort, which helps you maintain transparency in trial reporting, Prisma for systematic reviews, GPP 2022 for ethical publication, and you have the AMA manual of style for go-to grammar usage and citation standards. But do remember that many pharma companies have their own templates, and often they are followed to the letter. So, what does all of this mean for a pharmacologist? What kind of career path can we look at? Um, Medical writing to be very honest, is a dynamic career path. And you have in-house positions in pharma, CROs, which give you stability and consistent workflows. You also have freelancing, consulting, allowing you variety, flexibility. However, that requires very strong self-management and networking. You can also specialize in regulatory submissions. However, that does require you to have additional certification courses. So, regulatory writing, pharmacovigilance, often additional certification courses today have become now the requirement. You have hybrid roles, which often combine medical affairs with significant writing responsibilities, which can be ideal for a lot of pharmacologists who enjoy cross functional collaboration. There are also leadership progression, which is possible from senior writer to managing teams to leading publication strategies. A new area that is coming up is, in fact, medical journalism today and working with publication houses. So, developing skills in project management, client handling, staying current with guidelines is very, very important, even for an entry level and as you want to go ahead into senior level opportunities. So, where do medical writers work? This is a snapshot of different scenarios. There's academia, contract research, medical communication, publishing, medical education, professional associations that you have. All the associations today. So, for example, if you were to look at Liver Transplant Society of India or RSSDI, these associations actually do have in-house medical writers too. So that is one avenue over and above pharma and academia, which, well, people don't often get into and explore. What are the challenges that remain? Well, curricular training, English language proficiency, and peer review deficiencies. This is one. Then there's time constraint. There is publication pressures, and there is a competitive research environment. So these challenges will often stay. None of them are going to disappear. The only thing that I would like to mention was very important is your drive to push. If you enjoy focusing on the core science and you enjoy writing, medical writing is for you. What are the skills needed? You'll be surprised. It's not just all writing. You need to have soft skills. You need to be able to manage your time. You need to be able to have a sneak peek into statistical analysis while you're not expected to be the expert, because let's be honest, it's good to leave a few things for the experts. Biostatisticians work with softwares. If you're taking SPSS, the versions keep on changing so fast. It's good to have basic Excel knowledge. However, it's good to give the biostatistical analysis to the specialists. Why? I have, believe it or not, in a Lancet paper about 3 years ago, I have seen where numerator and denominator got switched because the person in question did the analysis in house. That resulted in showing the medication increased the risk, the odds ratio increased, and it showed that the drug in question causes harm, while that was not the case. This was simple statistical error where the numerator and denominator got reversed. So instead of showing that the drug in question is protective, it showed the drug in question is harmful, and Lancet had to publish a retraction. So I have seen these type of errors happening. So while you basic statistical concepts and data interpretation is important, my personal suggestion is let the experts do their job. Okay. So, as we close, remember effective medical writing is much more about mindset than it is about skill. Knowing your audience, tailoring your communication, accuracy, and ethics, they form the backbone of credible science. Structure and clarity ensure your work is digestible. Data, especially in pharmacology, should be presented in a way that enlightens and not confuses. And finally, review and refinement aren't optional. They are where good writing becomes great. As pharmacologists, we have the dual advantage of understanding complex drug science and being able to make it clear for others. So we must use that to our benefit. Thank you for your patient listening. So I'd like to open the session up for any questions, queries.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anchal, for such a nice, you can say, extensive coverage of the topic, especially for the pharmacologist, how they should actually go about medical writing, what are the avenues, what are the various, right now, you can say the places where they can look for. In
Yes.
fact, many of the questions are related to that only.
Sure, sure. I'd be happy
People
to.
want to know. Yeah, yeah. You talked about the Excel, that Excel has a lot of components. So one question is, for medical writing and Excel especially, what are the things they should be knowing? Like there are some special areas or skills or
Yeah.
topics, right?
Yeah. So when it comes to and I speak from my experience, when it comes to PowerPoint, when it comes to Excel, when it comes to Word, I'd like to break down a must know and good to know. Okay, because let's start with Excel. Excel, knowing how to do basic averages, calculations, it's very important over there, especially descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics are fairly straightforward, and we as pharmacologists can do it. However, with our background, nobody really teaches us those things. They are simple to understand. If you have great acumen and you're able to pick up, okay, you can graduate to doing an ANOVA, doing a chi-square. But like I said, you have to be very, very careful with
Yeah.
numerator and denominator. So when you're doing complex, yeah, where I would suggest is, now when you're going to correlation, please don't try and do it by yourself. So please ask the statistician to work on the data, because correlation data, you reverse your numerator denominator, you're going to end up having a negative correlation instead of positive. And as somebody who has seen that, it's made me realize that you should let the specialists do their job. PowerPoint, you must know extensively. To be honest, it's not difficult, it's very, very easy. When you're talking about PowerPoint, it's about how to present data in a manner that's easy on the eyes. Okay, it's about retention, it's about making an impact. So PowerPoint, you should know a lot more. Word document, yes, you should have fluency in that as well, because there are a lot of YouTube tutorials that you can do. And having a basic control on your Microsoft is very, very useful, no matter what activity you're working on, whether it is in pharma, whether it is in a CRO. Basic Microsoft will really boost your confidence to do start your job on the first thing that you're assigned.
Thank you, Dr. Anchal. Especially, I was thinking about other questions are also there. We will just go for that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
sure.
thinking about when we are talking about a lot of PowerPoint and Excel, and presently AI has a big role in that. We have already seen that people are extensively using. So, what is the role of the AI now presently in the medical writing?
So, Dr. Dinesh, to be very honest, I'll tell you something. AI is learning. Okay, there is a lot of misinterpretation that is there. Everybody thinks that AI is the go to answer. However, the truth is, AI is still learning and AI makes mistakes. Believe it or not, with the boom of AI, a lot of us have tried to write articles from it, but you will be surprised with the spurious, references that comes up, the incorrect interpretation. So one has to be very, very
Mm.
careful. AI would be good to sort of, now for example, I have 3-4 columns of data and I want to convert that to table. If you know how to do that in Excel, great, but to understand how to create a pivot table takes a little bit of a learning curve, especially for people who don't have that background, who of not using it. But AI can generate that table for you faster. I would not use AI for more than basic tasks. I would be very, very careful before doing calculations over there, because AI tends to skip a lot of things. But then there is a difference as to what a paid or a free version can get you. Even a paid version, I have seen make so many mistakes. So I think modulating it is very, very important, and using it to expedite tedious tasks are helpful, but interpretative, no, sir. I don't think AI is
Yeah.
reliable over there yet.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm combining next to the other questions because when we were drafting MD pharmacology curriculum, even MBBS, we actually talked to many people, and some questions are related to that, but the career growth for MD pharmacologists. Like they are asking for MD pharmacologists, do we need to do some trainings in the medical writing? Number one. And is there a competition with the Pharma D versus Pharma D? Are they preferred or not preferred?
Yeah. So, first of all, pharmacologists, because you have done your MD, you actually don't need any additional curriculum or any additional course in medical writing. You do need it for PV writing and regulatory writing. Because today, what has happened is, even if you don't know the documents, you don't know which guidelines to refer to, your basic knowledge in regulatory is missing. And regulatory is very, very strict. Swapna here would be great to add to that. So having a certificate course in regulatory is important. You will not be preferred there only as an MD today. I'm telling you today's scenario. It's not about qualification. It's just about knowing the niche. Regulatory writing has exploded and it's become a whole super specialty by itself. When it comes to PV, you can learn. It's good to have. It would be great to have additional certification, but not mandatory. I do know it is needed for regulatory.
Yeah,
As far as the scope, sir, is concerned, everybody believes that pharma is the only way in. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I started with Abbott, I moved on to GSK, but I'm currently working with IntelliMed Healthcare Solutions, which is on the other side of the table. And I've taught for 3 years too. So I've been in academia, I've been in pharma, and now I'm in contract work. And it is about the core science. If you enjoy it, believe me, it's just about experiencing different roles. So don't have this to budding students. I would tell you, please don't feel that there aren't opportunities today. I would like to actually ask everybody to go and read a very recent paper which was published last year by McKinsey, talking about outsourced medical writing. The compliance landscape has changed so much that there is a need for firewalls in the middle, which is why you need a third party to come in. So there is a lot of opportunities. Please
mm.
don't have this in your head that it's not an earning opportunity, it's not good enough. That's actually not true.
We have like I will ask one more question in continuity which has come there, and
Yeah.
then I will hand over to Swapna has some. The first question today about Excel was for Dr. Manisha Maheshwari. Then lot of other question by Satyaram, Karthik about Karthik is asking, for example, even I have experienced some of the people who are working, for example, other places like in a medical college, they wanted to start optional medical writing also. But ultimately, confidential issue was coming there, and they were not letting them join. That if you are working somewhere else, then we will not give you your documents and all those. So, what is the status of freelancing now, right now?
So, to be very honest, sir, freelancing as a market has boomed a lot. There does remain a compliance requirement because when you already have an existing job, even if it is a collegiate institute, they don't allow for second opportunities. It's not like the time when the government of Maharashtra, government of Goa, they allowed from private practice, they allowed you to do something else. So that has changed. Now that is not the situation anymore. Even in academic, if you're a professor, you're not allowed to hold another position anywhere else. So freelancing, if you're going to get into that market, it's good not to be employed elsewhere, because that can
Yeah,
become a credibility issue for
yeah,
you as an individual.
that was bigger issue. In fact, the
Yeah.
talks progressed to quite a higher level, but ultimately it failed because of that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
Swapna, yeah.
if you do want to get into freelancing so purely, it requires a lot of networking. It takes a
Mm,
lot of time. It's basically becoming an entrepreneur. So the
yeah.
same time that you will take to become an entrepreneur, you'll take to become a recognized freelancer writer. And at company level, sir, nobody works with freelancers, whether it's Indian company, whether it's pharma company. So often agencies work with freelancers. So just because for any pharma company, device company, nutra company also, when nutraceuticals is less regulated, you still need a registered vendor.
Yeah.
So it is the organizations like CROs, medical writing agencies such as mine. We work a lot with freelancers, but they are often not employed elsewhere.
Thank you so much. I will hand over to Swapna, and in the meantime, we'll keep an eye if the new questions pop up.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
So there are a few questions here, Dr. Achal. There is a set of questions. I'll just go one by one, and then I would like to ask my questions and contribute more to what you have said.
Absolutely.
Uh, One is while selecting a journal for pharmacology based research, apart from impact factor, what other high standard criteria such as indexing, peer review quality, or audience relevance should we consider to improve acceptance chances? This is not a medical writing specific question, but if we
No,
can.
I understand. I absolutely understand. So, if you have a particular article in question, a good practice would be to, look at the past one or two issues, what they have published. Okay, so you'll be surprised when it comes to expert reviews, and I'm just talking expert reviews. Okay, for majority of the journals, international journals, expert reviews are not openly accepted, they are invited. So you have to be aware of these certain small guidelines and nuances which are there. If your particular article, now looking at indexing, looking at Scopus approved, PubMed approved, looking at the APC charge, that also becomes relevant. Looking at the audience becomes relevant. So it becomes very important to see whether a similar article like yours, has it been recently published. If so, in the same journal or another journal, then you know to rule these out. Over time, what happens is, and Swapna, you'd agree to this, that over time, you get used to looking at 10-12 specific journals per therapy area. So you know that these are the journals, this is the way of sending your publication. And if you're getting into a specific therapy area, knowing your top journals, it's great to know journals which have impact factor of 6 and 7, but you should keep an eye out on your journals with impact factors of 2 and 3, because believe me, both of those, the turnaround time in those journals is higher. So you'll be surprised where the peer review time is somewhere, it is only somewhere it is 30 days, somewhere it is only 15 days. So that turnaround time also makes a difference. Something like this comes over time with experience.
I completely agree. A lot of these things will come with experience. When we enter medical writing, it is like starting an entirely new syllabus, but using
Absolutely.
what we have. Um,
Absolutely.
the next question is, how can AI tools be integrated effectively into medical writing for tasks like literature review, grammar refinement, and data visualization while ensuring originality and compliance with ethical guidelines?
Right. So, my answer to that is be very careful. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not against AI, but as somebody who's tried and tested it, you have to be very, very careful in where you modulate and use it. Now, when you're talking about the literature review, to be very honest, you cannot replace the human touch. Okay, to be honest, when the entire boom of AI happened, our company, we did a very nice exercise. We decided to try and see if AI can replace us. Good news is it can't. So we all have jobs. We tried to get it to write an article, and all the references were spurious. And we're talking about a paid version, so it cannot replace the human touch. Some references checked out, some references were spurious. So I'm not saying AI is like completely defective. It, like I said, it can expedite, especially when you're working with a writer's block of how to, for example, you've given the references, you've given the paragraphs, and you feel like, okay, I'm just not able to put this together. So can AI, can you help me out in just structuring a flow? That over there, yes, but you have to give all the information. Okay, and when you're articulating it, for somebody who's struggling with articulation, AI would do a great job. But if you're going to look at it for language, for consistency, I suggest using apps like Grammarly, PaperPal. They're better at the language corrections. They are better at putting those things together. So please be very use it with a pinch of salt. Right now it sounds very, very fancy. And to be honest, then on the other side, Swapna, we also have the AI detectors with different publication houses are using. The funniest thing over there is they think that only AI can have great language. Nobody else has good language. So modicum of a small portion of great English used, and they think it's AI generated. So the AI detector tools are also lacking that sensitivity and specificity. I mean, I think it's an evolving field and it's great to see how it grows. I don't think it can replace the human touch yet, because for literature search, it's better if you do the literature. And to be very honest, to all students, and again, I think all our panelists over here will agree. Over a period of time, you start getting into a hang of reading vertically. You don't read horizontally anymore, and that skill comes with time. So don't rely on AI so much that you stop building that muscle.
Yeah. In fact, Swapna and Anshul, I was looking at the questions and our experience with the AI in the academic side and the writing. We run many courses, 1 year, 2 years for the medical educator and all, where they have to write a lot of academic things based on their input, natural intelligence. Some
Yeah.
of them started using AI, and we immediately came to know because the type of words they get and all, they are so hyper,
Yes.
and normally humans don't use that.
Yes.
Immediately you come to know, and this is, and you also ask the same question from AI, and from wherever you get similar responses. So we got
Absolutely.
this issue. Yeah, yeah,
AI is not able to bring about the clinical nuance that you need for a discussion section. It can write it, but you will always be able to
yeah,
make out that it is AI versus
yeah.
humanly written, because that point has not come out. And that's why I'm telling you, all the students over here, while AI is very, very exciting, don't stop building that muscle. Initially, medical writing is tedious work, but believe me, when you build that muscle memory of writing, you will never lose it. It's like swimming, it's like driving a car. Build that muscle. Don't become AI dependent where you stop using that muscle.
Right. So we do it in threads, right? When we put a search term and we find something, we go from one article to next. We know the flow that we want. One problem with AI in public domain, one is it hallucinates. So if it gives you some text, it may not be correctly linked from different references. You still have to go and check.
Yes.
Uh, Organizations have been building their own AI tools, and these AI tools learn the organization's language. The data that is put in for the learning is limited, it is directional to what the organization wants. So, you can use those when you are in an organization, use those. So,
Yes.
confidentiality issues don't come in. Those kind of things, and use it like Dr. Achal said, carefully now, unless you have been given permission to go ahead and produce a draft of any document, be it regulatory or for a publication. Think what your role doesn't stop when AI generates. You can use it, for asking, okay, am I according to ICMJ style or the AMA style? Can you construct a better sentence? Can you summarize this table? But eventually, you have to give your expertise when you develop a document,
Yeah,
especially. Yeah.
as Swapna, I actually thought AI did a good job when it's switching reference styles. One journal requires
Yes.
APA, the other requires Vancouver.
Yes.
Over there, it expedites. But it is very limited to these basic tasks, I feel.
So these
I will just
minor
interfere here.
tasks.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
just
Yes.
left with 2 minutes. Should we take
Yes.
the last question? They
Sure.
are asking if MD pharmacologist go as a medical advisor. Is medical writing part of that, or medical writing as a career is a separate thing?
So it's a little bit of both, sir. It depends on which company you're working for. Medical advisor has a role where they are also, supposed to be in touch with key specialists in the field to understand the changing practice patterns. For a lot of companies, they put a lot of premium on that type of travel, which is not the case in other companies. In other companies, the expectation is that you do a little bit of writing also. So it is a mix of both, and it depends on which company you're getting a job in.
So then there's a lot of appreciation coming on the chat GPT. I think you will read that in the meantime. So we thank you so much for really making it wonderful. We are looking at if like we are exploring further with the academia industry collaboration, if we can some internship opportunities in the
Yes,
medical writing for the
absolutely. Absolutely.
ongoing MD pharmacology courses.
Yes,
Yeah, I will
absolutely.
talk to you
Please
through
feel
Dr.
free to.
Kamal. We were trying
Yes.
through Dr. Reshma also.
Sure,
We
sure, sure.
start some
Absolutely.
collaboration.
Absolutely. Please
Thank you.
feel free to keep me in mind as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Dr.
Thank you.
Dinesh,
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Dinesh, sir, I just want to speak for just 15 seconds.
Yes.
There is one question which has come. Yeah, ma'am. Thanks a lot for that wonderful presentation, ma'am. It
Sure,
was
sir.
really clear and complete and very nicely communicated. But students were asking that during their MD pharmacology curriculum, if supposing they are in second year and they want to do, freelancing medical writing part. So is it like, what's your opinion about this, ma'am?
So I think it depends on department to department. I believe the opportunity for writing exposure can be given. A lot of the work can be done internally for the department as well, so that exposure is there. They don't need to go out to different agencies or companies for that internship. In fact, at a departmental level, they can just reach out to different departments and see conferences that are there, participate in them, see what they can do, kind of study, kind of publication. One does not have to do a high level study at every step, which is costly to the patient. But I do believe it can, you can get that type of experience internally within the department. So maybe the departmental curriculum can evolve to include those assignments.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
Right,
so
ma'am.
much,
Thank you
Dr.
so much for
Jitendra.
the input. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think
Thank you,
that's
ma'am.
some things thought for us, all of us, to start something in that area. Thank you.
Thank
Back to Dr. Rishma.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Anchal, for that wonderful session and taking up the Q&A so well. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh and Dr. Swapna for moderating the session so well. And now we are right on time. We will move on to the next session for today. I will just share my slide. Our next session is on translating academic knowledge into industry practice. And to take this session, we have Dr. Viraj Rajadiksha. And moderating this session, we have Dr. Manoj Saurabh. I would like to invite and welcome Dr. Manoj Saurabh, the moderator, who is the professor and head Department of Pharmacology at AIIMS Gorakhpur. Now, Sir is also the Dean Examination at AIIMS Gorakhpur. Sir has completed his MBBS at Gandhi Medical College, Bhopal, and MD in Pharmacology and Therapeutics at Patna Medical College. So, Sir has about 20 years of experience in undergraduate as well as postgraduate teaching as well as research. So, in addition to teaching, he has also served as a deputy medical superintendent at AIIMS Diogar and medical superintendent. He has served as the coordinator or co-coordinator for PVPI and MVPI and a member of the Institutional Human Ethics Committee, a CCSCA nominee, and an assessor for the NMC. So Dr. Manoj sir has his interest in humanities in medical education as well as pharmacoepidemiologic research. Sir has nearly more than 35 publications in national and international journals. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Reshma. Good evening to dignitaries of NPT, resource persons, colleagues, and all participants and dear student. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce Dr. Viraj Rajadhyaksha, sir, a distinguished physician scientist who exemplifies the successful transition from academia to pharmaceutical industry leadership. Dr. Viraj brings impressive credential, an MD from St. G.S. Medical College, Mumbai, and MS in pharmaceutical medicine from the University of Surrey, UK, and fellowship of the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Medicine, recipient of Gufic Prize, currently serving as an international franchise lead for oncology at AstraZeneca. Dr. Viraj drives a strategic initiative across emerging market with over 20 years of pharmaceutical industry experience. His expertise spans multiple therapeutic areas, including oncology, cardiology, infectious disease, and diabetes. Beyond his industry role, Dr. Viraj has significantly contributed to pharmaceutical education's research or co-convener of Global Forum at the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Medicine. Today's presentation on translating academic knowledge to industry practice addresses a critical challenge many of us face. As we navigate digital transformation and personalized medicine, Dr. Viraj's unique perspective, bridging clinical practice, academic excellence, and industry leadership makes him ideal guide. surely our audience will benefited more than the expectation from present session. Once rules same to other all recipients and participants. Focus on the session. Keep mobile and microphone in silent mode. Put question in chat box so that we can take it. Happy learning. Thank you. Viraj sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. And am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are
Thank
audible.
you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. And before I start, I want to wish all of us a very, very happy Independence Day. And I'm sure that wherever we are, whether in India or abroad, we will continue to carry the blessings and learnings that our motherland, India, gives us every time. So, and we will always cherish those memories. I want to thank Dr. Kamal and Dr. Reshma Kodros for organizing this program and for inviting me to speak. Dr. Reshma, if you feel fine, you can project the slides from your end. Yes. So today I'm going to talk about how do you translate what we learn in academics into industry, and what is actually necessary for all of us when we make this transition. And I'll try to give some examples during this. This was a picture taken at the Indian High Commission in London, where we celebrated the 78th. This was the 78th Independence Day. Next, please. Needless to say, whatever I talk today is my personal, not reflect this of AstraZeneca in any way. And if you have any further questions, you can always connect out to me. When we talk about the scope of pharmacology curriculum in the academia, what is important is we need to understand that there are 3 or 4 important aspects. The first aspect is related to what is core pharmacology. And this core pharmacology and the regulatory learning is often correlated to the acquisition of knowledge that we perform during these 3 years of. In addition to that, we also gain research skills. And these research skills are something that we learn through obtaining these research skills through study design, through study conduct, and probably in the future, it can also help us in the field of pharmacovigilance. The third important aspect that our 3-year program teaches us are professional skills. And these are sometimes not necessarily written in textbooks, but we learn it through seminars, through programs and workshops. And these eventually help us in the therapeutic part and also in specialized areas such as health economics. During this entire 3-year program, we learn a lot about ethics. And this ethics helps us for our better learning on ethical conduct in industry, as well as in our self-development as all-round pharmaceutical leaders. And finally, a very important part of this 3-year program is teaching and contributing to undergraduate medical students. And this helps us in our contribution, because let us not forget that even when you join the industry, teaching and education is a very, very important aspect of our day-to-day work. So when we look at the MD pharmacology criteria, while the criteria has not been developed, for us to develop as leaders, in the pharmaceutical industry, there is a lot of correlation that exists already. And there are a few areas that we need to do separately beyond what is there in the curriculum. Next, please. When you join the industry, what is expected from you? And I've tried to put this into 4 broad buckets. The first bucket is when you join the industry, you are considered as a scientific expert. And that is why understanding a particular therapy area and probably 1 or 2 more and disease management is very crucial. You will be recruited in the industry because of your expertise in 1 or 2 therapy areas, and you will be expected to deliver on that. You will not be recruited just because you are an MD pharmacology and you know about development of medicines. And this is one thing which I would request all youngsters like you, that we have to focus on our better understanding of clinical medicine and how do you manage patients. And I do have a couple of suggestions in my session later on. That is why you need to understand what challenges patients and caregivers undergo. In specialized areas like oncology, where I'm now currently working, we have quite limited exposure. And that is why working very closely with cross-functional teams and cross-department teams during your MD becomes really very crucial. You need to come out of the lab, you need to come out of the department, and you need to more merge into clinical medicine. And then, of course, go back and try to correlate drug development and medicine. The second bucket is you will be always the conscience keeper. When you become medical directors, which I'm sure all of you want to become, you will be the final signatory on any materials or any SOPs that are developed. And here, I think during your MD, you need to have a good knowledge of the local laws and regulations, because organizations will have their own SOPs and their own systems. But what is more important is industry-driven codes, such as those developed by OPPI, and also the Indian law, such as the Indian Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So you need to understand Indian Drugs and Cosmetics Act very well. You need to also understand how social media should be used. When you are on social media, remember, you are an individual. We have freedom to comment, but at the same time, you're a professional. Using LinkedIn for professional ways and methodologies is absolutely the right way. This is not the forum only to be voicing your personal opinions. And that is why I would request you to be away from more contentious issues which are completely outside the scope of professionalism. The third aspect is being a people's leader. Eventually, you will manage teams. And this is a skill that we are not necessarily taught during our MD program. So you need to develop people. You need to bring out the next generation of leaders. And I was quite blessed early in my career to be working under top-notch leaders, in the field of pharmaceutical medicine and medical affairs in India and abroad. And they have continued to guide and shape me in my career. So this is very important. At the same time, you need to recognize early talents. Who is that person who is ready to take over the role of a medical director in the future? And how can you help him or her to develop those skills? Finally, you are also the external face of the organization. The organization will ask you to be their spokesperson. And that is why it is important for us to interact with multiple stakeholders. And this is an area which you can very well learn in a hospital setting. You will be working with not only medical people, but you will be working with paramedics, you will be working with pharmacists, with nurses, administrators, and many other stakeholders. And please try to make yourself familiar, interacting not only with the medical community, but with a broader community as well. So this is what I feel would be your role in the pharmaceutical industry where you can join. Next, please. Now, medical affairs is probably where 70 to 80% of you will join. And for most of you, your first job would be that of a medical scientific liaison. That means you are interacting with physicians and sharing with them new data, which will help them to take informed decisions related to patients. You are also helping them to shape the patient journey. And what is necessary for you in developing medical affairs skills? I have divided that into two aspects. One is scientific skills. And these would, of course, include skills such as a deep understanding of science and how science is shaping the future of medicine. Understanding of the class of medicines that you are responsible for, but more important, also understanding other classes of medicines that exist there. While you do that, you must understand the access scenario. You must understand how easy or difficult it is for patients and caregivers to access medicines. When I was working on oncology in India, as well as in certain other emerging markets, one of the areas for us was the science is good, the medicine is good, but is it affordable? Is it accessible to our patients? And what can be done with market access teams and government affairs teams to bring those medicines in the right way and make it more accessible? These are skills which are not necessarily taught during your MD program, and hence we need to build those skills as we enter the industry. On the soft skills part, your communication, written and oral, both becomes absolutely pivotal for your success in the industry. And when you do that, there are certain other skills such as cross-functional working. Unfortunately, we are never developed for cross-functional working. As physicians, we believe that our order should be listened to and everybody follows it. But when you enter the industry, you must understand you're working there with business leaders, with pharmacists, with people not necessarily coming from the science background, and sometimes you become their leader. So when you become their leader, how do you work in a cross-functional working scenario and bring out the best? The last point, which I would like to say in soft skills, is our agility to learn new things. Many years ago, when I did medicine, and if you read a chapter on beta blockers, it was always said the first indication of beta blockers is hypertension. And one of the first contraindications of beta blockers used to be heart failure. By the time I finished my MD, hypertension was no longer the first indication for beta blockers, because there were better drugs such as calcium channel blockers and ACE inhibitors that were come. On the other hand, heart failure became the first indication where many beta blockers would be used. This shows that science is evolving and our agility to learn things would become very important and would define your success. As we start working into medical affairs teams, you need to have a good understanding of the geography. When I moved from India into Asia, more important for me was to adjust to the cultural sensitivity, because cultural sensitivity in different parts of the world can be different. It is also different sometimes in different parts of India, or even different between various healthcare systems. So how do you understand the cultural sensitivity and how do you adapt your message for that? The last session was very good, and I really appreciated Dr. Achal's comments and inputs. But technological advances are becoming very important. Today, I'm working with artificial intelligence far more than what I would have worked 5 years back. What is artificial intelligence? How do you develop that? How do you make it more available? How do you impact more patients? These are areas that we have always been working around. Next, please. So who are our different partners in the industry when we work? And we again have 4 partners. And I would go back to the basics, the 4 Ps. Our first partner is a patient. And the question that the patient always has in mind is, will the medicine help me? He or she is coming to the physician with a lot of expectations and aspirations. And can we stand up to those aspirations? The channel to that is the physician. And the physician's question is, does this medicine really work? And am I going to see that difference in my patient? To ensure that the overall policy framework is created, policymakers have become important, valuable partners for us, and especially after the corona epidemic. So the question that they have is, science is good, there are patients, how much is going to cost me? Should I be investing or should I be spending money here, building another bridge or unload? Understand this mind that does exist policymakers. So how do you justify that this medicine is more important? And then finally is the broad public who are still not patient and are that never always remain healthy. So what is this health condition that they have? Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So very quickly, I will go through this. The slides I will basically quickly run through. The first slide is on core pharmacology and regulatory. How do you make the transition? The points that I have written in the yellow or the orange part is what in the is the practical aspects of what you should be from each of these. Pharmacology and regulatory, when you talk about pharmacokinetics, dynamics, methodologies, basically you are learning where do medicines work and where they don't. Very important for us to find out where the medicines are working and where they are not working. Next, please. Similarly, when we are talking about the research skills in areas such as study design and pharmacovigilance, writing protocols becomes very important. And when you write study protocols, Eventually, this will help you in understanding evidence gaps and developing evidence-based medicine programs. There's a very interesting question towards the end of the last presentation. Can we do medical writing during our MD program, and can we do some freelancing work? I would suggest there is such a lot of work that needs to be done in the department. Our publishing index is still far, far smaller than countries such as South Korea and China. So why don't you come together? Why don't you develop your own database of all the research that has happened in your own department and get that published? Why don't you identify the unmet medical need in your geography and try to develop a protocol which solves this? This will be far more valuable to you rather than doing freelance work for medical writing. So think about it and think about what can create more long-term value for you rather than just short-term benefits. Next, please. On therapeutics and pharmacoeconomics, and this is what I have always said is the most important aspects. You need to understand the patient pathway. The 3 years of MD are the best possible time where you can understand the patient pathway and then take the right steps which would help you in identifying patients earlier. We have been working in the field of oncology, and several cancers today are curable. And some of you might be shocked when I'm using this term curable. They indeed are curable, but they are curable when they are detected earlier. And unfortunately, a lot of today's systems do not help us in detecting patients at an early stage. What can we do? Especially the usage of technology and the use of access to identifying patients earlier and detecting them earlier and giving them the most appropriate treatment using market access. This is what you should be thinking of when you are doing your MD pharmacology. Next, please. And then finally, on the field of ethics. During your MD program, you will learn a lot about ethics in academia, ethics in research. Some of you might be able to even help and support ethics committees in their administrative work. And this creates a very good foundation for corporate governance in the future, as well as improving your own expertise and preparing for the future. So these slides will be with you. Don't worry about that, but do not underestimate the role of ethics and professional skills which you get during your development programs. Next, please. And finally is the field of teaching. Teaching is not always something that all of us would always look forward. But always remember that significant part of your role in the industry, at least at the initial stages, will be focused on teaching, marketing, and sales teams. And that is why use the time that you have now on teaching undergraduate and paramedical professionals and ensure that that helps you in developing your own oral and written communication. There is no further joy than seeing your own student doing much better than you and at the same time addressing complex questions and arising higher in his or her professional life. So continue to focus on teaching. Talk to your postgraduate guides and take more and more sessions. And I will, of course, in one of my slides, share what I got an opportunity to do while doing my MD couple of years back. Next, please. So these are 3 areas which I think that you should always remember when you are doing your MD. The first is therapeutics. And that is why collaborating with clinical departments becomes absolutely imperative. While doing my MD in KEM Hospital close to 2 decades back, I got an opportunity to work with the cardiology department. I actually spent more time in the cath lab working with my cardiology colleagues than working on in vitro experiments. And that helped me to understand the patient systems and the patient flow. And the first therapy area that I eventually started managing in the industry was cardiology before making this transition to oncology. So it is very important that you understand the role and value of therapeutics. You are a physician first and an expert in development of medicines along with that. Do not let that physician go away from you. And this is a message that I always like to give people who do MD pharmacology, MD public health, preventive social medicine, etc. While you have a broader angle, always remember that we exist here for patients. The second aspect is we get a unique opportunity to learn more about pharmacokinetics during our MDs. And this helps us to understand the differences of different medicines within classes, and especially which are the patient populations where you should use a medicine and where you should not use a medicine. The final aspect is learning more on diagnostics. This is a field which has come up more so in oncology, but also in certain areas such as rheumatology, where personalized medicine has become the norm. You need to identify a particular biomarker which gives better response with certain classes of medicines. And hence, building diagnostic pathways and connecting laboratories to hospitals and patient has become a very important role. And that is why those of you who have good pathology departments, I would suggest you should talk to pathology departments and understand the patient or the sample journey as it exists there as well. Next, please. So, during the pandemic, I was asked to write an article, and that article was, what do you think are the competencies and skills that we need to develop in ourselves as industry professionals? And again, I tried to find out 5 of these competencies and skills which become very relevant. The first skill is our understanding of healthcare. When some of us joined the industry, we were told that you need to understand your medicine very well. Couple of years later, we realized that you need to understand your competitors also extremely well. The next step is understanding the whole disease area, irrespective of whether that class of medicine is your responsibility or not. And now we have reached a stage where understanding of healthcare is very crucial and very important. Even if 15% of Indian population has access to good quality health insurance, that would be closer to the entire population of US who has access to good quality healthcare. And that we will understand only when we understand healthcare in a broader aspect. So do not become drug experts, become experts in healthcare. The second aspect is digital. I'm talking to you through a digital platform, but digital is not Zoom and Microsoft Teams. Digital is how can you use new technology in diagnosing patients earlier? How can you use new technology in ensuring that patients continue to remain on those treatments? And how do you use new technology to monitor patients and intervene at the right time? And these are digital tools that have developed. In the last few years, we've been very fortunate to be working with actually a Mumbai-based organization, Cure AI, who has developed artificial intelligence-based models on screening and early detection of lung cancer. And we've been partnering with them all across the world, including Latin America, the US, and certain European countries. So a deep understanding of digital knowledge becomes very crucial. As you start growing higher and higher in the industry, engagement with patients and patient groups has become very crucial. In countries like India, except for pediatric conditions, patient groups are not that strong. Maybe they are there in certain types of cancers, but not across. But we need to build those patient engagements. We need to understand what a patient requires more than just medicines. Nutrition is important, exercise, psychosocial support, support for community members, and support for caregivers also becomes important. Along with these 3 competencies, I have added 2 skills. One skill is agility, our ability to learn new things at the right time and change ourselves. And number 2 is how do you influence people? How do you convince them of the right things when they are not reporting to you? And this is an important skill that you should learn while you are doing your MD programs, because as an MD student, there is nobody who is reporting to you. You are an MD resident, but at the same time, you need to get things done from other people. So this really becomes very, very crucial and very important. So 5 skills: understanding of healthcare, understanding of how digital will impact you, and understanding on what patients want. And 2 skills: agility and learning new things, and influencing and getting things done and be accountable for what you are doing. Next, please. So let us try to spend a little bit of time on digital and patient engagement. So under the digital part, I think using big data. How do you generate big data? I've always been saying that Ayushman Bharat should actually become self-funding, because we are sitting on voluminous millions and millions of data sets, and data is going to be king, and data is already king in the future. So when that happens, how do you use big data to answer very specific research questions and develop solutions to that becomes really very crucial. Data, again, digital is not only using Zoom and Teams. Digital is developing a digital mindset in anything that you are doing. Today, without the use of digital tools, you probably do not do anything. But which of these are important? And which of these should be incorporated in day-to-day life and day-to-day practice is for you to decide. The second aspect is patient engagement. And this is also related to access. Because when you listen to patients, you understand their problems. You understand what are the aspirations that they are looking at. And when you do that, you understand or try to develop new solutions. In a country like India, where even traveling from one part to the other can be sometimes very challenging. Those of you who have worked in tertiary hospitals would have understood that. Few years back, I attended a workshop in All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi, and I realized that a large percentage of patients who come to AIIMS do not come from Delhi. They come from Eastern UP and Bihar. They travel for 500 miles or even more to come and access healthcare systems. And what can we do to engage them and create those solutions? I cannot have a medicine which is to be given 3 times a day and monitored every day for these type of patients. So what are the new treatments that need to be available for these patients who are staying remotely? So these are some of the very active patient engagement methods that we should be following. Next, please. When we talk about competencies and skills, I think influencing, this becomes very important. Emotional intelligence. I heard the term emotional intelligence only when I joined the industry. Till then, I only knew that, you have to be, you have to have good intelligent quotient. Then I realized that you have to have a good emotional quotient. Now we know that there are 2 more quotients. There is one quotient which is called as social quotient, which means how well you are interacting with people. And that is a clear indicator of your success. And the 4th quotient is spiritual quotient, nothing to do with religion. Spiritual quotient is how resilient you are, how ready you are to face challenges, and how determined you are even when success eludes you is very, very crucial. So influencing skills really become very important part of your life. The next aspect is agility. Adapting to the changing scenario, you might change geographies, you might change companies, you might change therapy areas, you might explore new approaches and options, and how are you ready to face that on a regular basis? I've spoken a little bit about healthcare, so I will not repeat that, but please do not consider yourself as a product expert. You are an healthcare expert who needs to solve the problems that India faces in healthcare and not an individual alone faces in terms of a medicine. Next, please. I will spend 5-7 minutes only more. I will not take too much of your time so that we keep some time for question and answers. But my own journey in academics and how it continues, to help me. I was very blessed to have to have done my MD from St. GS Medical College. Undoubtedly, one of the most pioneering institutions in the field of pharmacology and clinical pharmacology, and also have good access to clinical trials and pharmaceutical medicine. And during my learning in the University of Surrey, they exposed me to the field of pharmaceutical medicine and how this would help us in our life. So I shared a little bit about my clinical experience working in the cardiology cath lab. But while during my pharmaceutical medicine in Surrey, I got an opportunity to work very closely with oncology. And incidentally, these are 2 therapy areas which I have continued to work on during my industry. But another thing which I did differently during the teaching part of my program, I had a lot of friends who were doing MD medicine or MS surgery, or some seniors who had by that time got into gastroenterology, etc. So what I used to do is I used to discuss actual clinical cases and ask my friends or residents to discuss the clinical cases with the second and third MBBS batches. And when those second MBBS batches come to me for a pharmacology tutorial, I used to try to connect each of these so that what they have learned in the wards, they can understand why specific medicines need to be given. And I would strongly encourage you to do that. So rather than having a tutorial telling them 100 medicines that can be used in acute coronary syndrome. If you go through a case, it becomes a case-based learning, and they also understand which medicines are used for what reasons. The third aspect which I learned in KEM Hospital was managing conferences. We had a lot of conferences at that time. Pharmatech had just started. It has now become an integral part of everybody's curriculum. But when that happened, got an opportunity to learn from different people, stakeholders, different people, government officials came, research officials came. There were people who came from DCGI's office. There were people who came from different cities. And this actually helped me in networking and communicating in the right way, even while I was doing my MD degree. And then finally, when I got into research, we did very interesting studies there in collaboration with clinical departments. But that helped me to eventually get into broader medical director roles in the industry. So the foundations of what I did or what I'm currently doing are largely contributed to the academic experience that I had at CGS Medical College and KM Hospital in Mumbai first, and then of course the University of Surrey at Guildford in UK. And these both together helped me in developing a pharmaceutical journey. Next, please. So I think I'm towards the end of my presentation, and we'll keep it open, for question and answers for some time. But I would really like to thank some of the people without whom I would not have been able to talk to you today. So, say GS Medical College, my alma mater, I continue this year. We are celebrating 100 years of our great institutions, and always happy to do that. Faculty of Pharmaceutical Medicine UK, part of Royal College of Physicians, where I am a part of the global forum now. But this has really helped me in developing a global mindset and a very different, broader approach in terms of pharmaceutical medicine. There are two pictures that you will see at the top of these slides, and these are, some of the best teams. I've always said that God has been very kind in blessing me with some of the best teams with whom I could work. So on the left side, on the right side is our team in India when I was managing the India operations for AstraZeneca for some time. But on the left side is my team in Singapore and Malaysia. It's a very different culture, very different from India. But when I was leading that team, I could learn a lot about the Singaporean and Malaysian healthcare system, and also what can be done to improve access to healthcare in this organization. So again, as you get into more of geographical mobility, you need to understand and learn from different geographies. And finally, you need to have good mentors. So Dr. Arun Bhatt, again, a legendary pharmaceutical leader and a healthcare leader in this country. I've been always blessed to be working with Sir on different aspects, including the Indian Society for Clinical Research. Always connect with good people, and they will continue to guide you. So even now, every year, I spend about 1 hour or 2 hours with him, as well as one of my other mentors, Dr. Amir Sheikh, with whom I learn a lot. They know exactly what I should do, and they also know my gaps, and they can tell me what I should do differently. Next slide. With this, I want to really thank you for your patient hearing and for listening to me for the last more than half an hour. I would like to end by saying only one thing and one saying, which was said 5,000 years ago on a battlefield somewhere in northern India by the supreme leader whom we always respect and whose birthday we are celebrating today in terms of Janmashtami. And he said that we are kept away from our goal not by obstacles, but by a clear path to a lesser goal. Let us understand deep meanings of all our scriptures, irrespective of any religion that we follow. But let us continue to do better for ourselves, for our community, for our family, for our neighbors, for our country, and for our humanity in general. On that note, Reshma, thank you so much. I hand it over to you, and I hand it over to Sir, the Honorable Chairperson. If there are any questions, I would like to address it now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for a awesome presentation. It was wonderful, or it integrated with your experience. I think that's your presentation. Your heart is Indian, but you have global mindset. That is very good. Also, you have emphasis on basically competency, different area of competency that NMC want to integrate this one, but we in India, this type of integration is not possible fully. you have told that there's a case-based study in second MBBS also. So just I assure you, just I am going to implement this. Problem-based case we are using, but it is not case-based in second year. It is for PG, but not MBBS student. Again, one important thing you have told, there are several questions asked in chat box, career prospect, what, but you have emphasized that in learning phase, you have to learn, gain skills, not only to pharmacology, other area of, it is not boundary for pharmacology. You can go for clinical, different type of branches, research, then these skills, then you will get career as you wish. So nice presentation, excellent, sir. So, sir, one question I want to ask, you, just I have told you that you have global in mindset, Indian at heart. Can you elaborate how cultural sensitivity and geographical understanding have influenced your approach to emerging market strategy at AstraZeneca?
Absolutely. And I think this is a very valid question because there's a very nice book actually written on the culture code, and it helps us that when you work with different cultures, how you should be changed. I have always believed that we should unlearn, relearn, and learn new things. And when I moved from India to East Asia, the cultural sensitivity of East Asia is very different. People are more emotional. They are more softer in your approach, and that is why when we move out, we must understand that we have to learn new things. When I started leading the Singapore and Malaysia organization, the first thing I came and told them is, I'm here to learn from you. I'm not going to say I come from India, which is a very big country, and you have to listen to what I say. No, this approach will never work. The approach that we need to ensure is that I bring some values, I bring certain experience of managing a complex environment to the table, but I want to learn from you. And I don't want to say that because it was successful in India, it should be implemented in other countries. So this is a mindset. This is a soft cultural power, that we always as a society, as a nation, that has had. The second aspect that I do is I try to learn things from others. So for example, when I moved to the UK, I realized that people in the UK will take you for what you have said. So if you have said something, that word has value, that opinion has value. And if you have promised somebody something, it has to be delivered. And this is something very professional that we learn from Western societies. Secondly, time management is something that I really learned. How you can spend good amount of time on your work and your family, and how you need to adhere to things that you have committed. So when I say that, global in mindset, we have to understand how the world is moving and how we are integrated into the world. At the same time, when I say Indian at heart, it means that taking our own cultural values, taking our learnings, our family values that we learn there, and trying to integrate it and make it better for patients and for caregivers.
That was reflected in your presentation, sir. Thank you for your mentor also. Sir, you outlined 5 key areas of pharmacology curriculum. Which of these did you have find most challenging to translate from academic theory to industry practice, and why?
Yes, I think this is a very good question, and I would say the more of the softer aspects becomes very difficult. So core pharmacology, regulatory, this is very well covered, in our curriculum. Similarly, things related to pharmacovigilance, clinical trials, these are also, very well covered. Yes. But ethics is something which is not very well explained in every institution. So secondly, people are so busy that they do not understand the ethical aspects very well. This was something which I did find it challenging because when I got into the industry, there are industry SOPs, and I really had to work a lot in the first 1 or 2 years. So I would suggest that those of you who are doing your MD, understand the Indian Drugs and Cosmetics Act, because it is very clear. Understand, all other national laws and regulations that are there. Through conferences, get more exposure to OPPI code of conduct, etc., if you want to join the industry later on. But that was an area where I think I could have done better.
Thank you, sir. I am taking question of audience. With due respect, the scientific knowledge we gain during MD pharmacology curriculum is heavily academic and research oriented, but you often feel I less prepared for practical roles in the pharmaceutical industry. How can this gap be addressed to make transition smoother?
Excellent question. And I've always believed that when you read Goodman and Gilman, and I hope that you learn Goodman and you read Goodman and Gilman, one of my teachers used to always say, when you read Goodman and Gilman's, no good man will fail you in the examination. So I've always believed that, it's the standard book. But it is a book on classes of medicines. And what is important is towards end of each of these chapters, we used to have a chapter on the overall therapeutics part. So do not underestimate, because our degree also is MD Pharmacology and Therapeutics.
Yes, sir.
So when you do that, when you read a chapter, try to discuss with your friend who is doing especially MD medicine, because that is one area which is very close to our field. But try to understand how a patient journey happens. Why do patients get those symptoms? Go back to third MBBS medicine and try to learn from there. So this is one area where I do feel spend more time in the wards and with clinical subjects. That would really help you in your industry career.
How can medical college and pharmaceutical companies collaborate more effectively to ensure our training align with the real world industry needs?
Excellent question. And few years back, when I was managing India for some time, we worked very closely with certain institutions, and there were certain universities and institutions who were more open, and that is why we started internship opportunities for certain people. So we do run a program every December in collaboration with CGS Medical College, and we open internship programs in AstraZeneca for everybody. There is an exam which happens, and the few people who do very well in that exam then get an opportunity to work as an intern in AstraZeneca for about 2 months, and this is included as part of their curriculum. At least there are certain. So I know MUHS, I know the universities in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh and Telangana include this. So you will be allowed to go there officially and you don't have to take leave. So, and I'm sure that there are many other universities who also consider that. I might not be knowing that. That is a very nice way of getting integrated into the industry and learning. But again, as I said, use the 3 years to understand patient pathways, clinical medicine, everything, because you will never get that opportunity anytime again.
Sir, just I want to tell you that certain area of medical college, जैसे Gujarat, Maharashtra, even Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, they are linked with the industrial training. But in case of its North India, eastern part, what is Bihar, UP, West Bengal, that is not integrated as much other states. So what should we do? Can our student participate that test? What is timeline? Where should I keep application?
Definitely. And this is open to everybody in India. It is not restricted to particular geographical areas. I would suggest please get in touch with the head of the department of CGS Medical College and KEM Hospital, because that is open to everybody. It is the department which organizes the conference, but everybody attends that. In fact, there would be a lot of opportunities. Please contact them, and that program generally runs from December.
Sir, our student from where learn several regulatory aspects. This industry roles often require familiarity with regulatory framework like CDSCO, ICS, GCP, and FDA guideline, which are not covered in depth during MD training. How can we provocative acquire this knowledge while still in academia?
Absolutely. The best way of doing that is attending seminars and programs. There are a lot of programs which are run on Indian GCP, ICH GCP, etc. Chandigarh, PGI Chandigarh used to run a very good program on clinical trials and clinical methodology. It used to happen somewhere in February, March. That is a good program. There are other programs that are run, so you could attend those programs. Many of them might be becoming online. The Indian Society for Clinical Research runs its own annual conference. Next year, I think it is in Delhi. This year, it was in Mumbai. That happens around January and February. You could attend that. It will cover a large part of this curriculum.
Sir, one question from my side. Where do you think ethical challenges are more complex? Academic research, clinical practice, and industry-sponsored activity? Or how will solve if there is a ethical dilemma? Can you share your experience?
Ethical dilemma will always be there more in clinical practice, because you have a patient in front of you and you need to take the right decision, and you can see the impact right in front of you. whenever we have pharmaceutical organizations, there's a large framework in place so that those ethical challenges can be adequately addressed. So while the challenge can be big, you know at least a framework to address it. But when you are doing your own research in a university or in a department, it becomes very difficult. You are the sponsor as well as the investigator, and you have limited resources. So what I have always found is ethical dilemma in clinical practice and ethical dilemma in academic research, especially if it is drug-related research, is far more than what exists in phase 3 trials. I'm meaning phase 3 trials, the ethical question is there, but there's a framework to address it.
Sir, somebody wants to, Amit Bhatt, he wants to do pharmaceutical medicine from the UK. What would be procedure?
Excellent question. So nowadays, the King's College runs a very good program, the King's College runs a medical affairs program, which is very good. You can get in touch with me through LinkedIn, and I can share, a few more aspects with you. With the faculty, we are trying to bring the diploma in pharmaceutical medicine program next year. So please stay connected to LinkedIn. We will make the announcement very soon, but we will bring the diploma in pharmaceutical medicine examination also to India very soon.
How much cost, sir?
We have not decided the cost of this program. So I can come back to you, on that specifically. But this is an exam that you have to give. You don't have to go there.
Okay, thank you, sir. That is nice, sir. We can give an exam in India. That is good. Yes. How is the landscape of medical affairs for fresher in Singapore?
Oh, excellent question. Singapore is not only Singapore, it is also the hub for Southeast Asia. But those of you who are asking me questions about moving outside, my first question to you is, how much have you learned from India? Don't run away. Our country is at such a state where we are now being considered as one of the most important emerging countries in the world, and that recognition is happening. When I moved out of India to work in Singapore, I worked for 10 years. I worked in geographies that you have not even heard of. You only hear it during election time. I have worked in Balia in Eastern UP. I have worked in Gaya in Bihar. I have worked in Durgapur in West Bengal. All of these places, in addition to, of course, living in Mumbai. So learn from India. Learn what our country can give. The hands-on experience that you will get in India, you will not get anywhere else. After that, you can easily move out to Southeast Asia, you can move to Middle East, you can move to any other countries. But do not forget that the learnings that you get in India at the beginning of your career and at every stage of your career are significantly higher. Once you have that, you can decide where you want to go. There are opportunities in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. These are generally English-speaking countries, or possibly in the Middle East, or then in the UK.
Dinesh sir has written here there is now 6-month posting in other departments and also industry for 2 months, 2 to 3
Excellent.
months.
This is exactly what should be done.
Okay. Yeah, it is there from 2022 batch onward. 2018 the curriculum came, but see, people were asking, it is not there. It is there now. What is happening is, what I have seen, very few departments are ready to send them to other departments. They will go for 6 months, or we will run. That is the issue. Industry,
this is a
academia collaboration. I agree with that. Industry, academia collaboration, we have been talking that academia should open. Now there's a mandatory posting of 2 to 3 months, but hardly any internship available. The seats are very limited. You also know. MD pharmacology seats have increased much. As Dr. Manoj also said, and option is limited to within few states where industry is, you can say, focused. Otherwise, it is not available. We are struggling for industry. From academia, it is open now. They say you send them, but we don't have opportunities available.
We should also approach very good Indian pharmaceutical organizations. They are now multinational organizations, actually. They exist in many countries. If you go to Latin America, you will see many medicines that are there from Indian companies, even in the NHS. I live in the UK. Sometimes you go to NHS, you get medicines which are manufactured by Indian organizations, and you are very proud about it. So I think these are also organizations that we should contact.
Dinesh sir, one question from you, sir. Want to answer from you. If our college and curriculum do not include the internship program, what should the student do, sir?
Is it a
question?
It's
there, sir. It's not college. It's NMC curriculum. It is there.
But if you are not a certain department or college not implementing, what will you do? We do, sir.
Can't do anything, sir. Even the earlier curriculum, which was there for many years, 20, 25 years, many people have not even implemented that. So I will say it is just 2, 3 years, but I think we should do it. Not doing it, anybody can do it. In India, it's very difficult, you know.
One last question, sir. Satish has asked many questions, wonderful questions. He was very active on this group. So, for those who are more inclined towards industry-oriented roles, such as medical license, science license, clinical research, BA, BE studies, pharmacovigilance, medical writing, what additional training or exposure would you recommend? So we can better prepared for these career path.
I would suggest that attend a very good structured program, and pharma tech is generally one of those. There might be many more. I know St. John's also organizes regular programs. I know there are very good programs run by Sri Ramachandra University in Chennai, and I'm sure there would be many more. But attend, invest yourself, go for this 4 or 5 day program and attend that program A to Z. That would definitely help you if you are not able to get those direct exposures in their institutions. In addition to that, of course, working on clinical trials and also working with other clinical departments.
Sir, one question from my side. Suppose I not well acquainted with the AI. So how can learn from where I can?
AI is always learned on the job. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. There is always a first start that you need to make. 5 years back, I had zero knowledge of AI. Today, we are working on this AI program in early detection of lung cancer. AI as a field is so evolving that you cannot learn just by sitting in a classroom. You need to learn by practical implementation. Start learning about that when you are on the job. That is not a rate limiting step. Nobody is going to ask you your knowledge of AI when you join the industry at your stage. You will learn it in your journey. Be patient. You don't have to learn everything at the end of MD program. There are many more things. Try to learn the knowledge as you move along in the journey.
Thank you, sir. Very nice presentation. It was memorable for me. I think also for other audience also. Okay. Thank you
very
much.
much. And please let's remain connected. Once again, before I end, I want to thank Dr. Manoj Saurabh for really chairing this session. I would like to thank Dr. Kamal and Dr. Reshma Quadros for giving me this opportunity. And finally, I would say, be resilient, be patient, keep the passion of learning new things regularly. Success will be yours before you even realize it. Okay.
Yes, agility. I learned from your presentation, agility is important.
Yes. With that, I wish you a very nice weekend and I wish you nice festive holidays.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Viraj and Dr. Manoj. Thank you very much for such an interactive Q&A that happened. It's very insightful. I'd request Major Dr. Jitendra Singh, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, Reshma, thank you so much. I think the point which has been put forward by most of our MD pharmacology students, and because Dr. Dinesh Badiyal sir also happens to be here, sir said NMC has mandated that it should be mandatory, but it is not been practiced in many institutions, which is a matter of concern because I feel if the institution starts posting them in the industry, their channel will definitely be very smoothened and it will definitely help the students in going further also. So, Dr. Dinesh Badiyal, sir, are you still there, sir?
Yeah. Hello.
Sir, yeah. Sir, don't you think, sir? Yeah, sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir, am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir, because you are the most right person to answer this query. Sir, when we are formulating these regulations from the NMC side, can't the government take some steps in talking to the industry or, making certain positions so that, at least, the facilitation begins? Because this is something which has to happen. It's a good step.
Sir,
but
we
it is
have a
not being
free hand.
implemented.
Yeah, we have a free hand now, sir. I don't know. I remember at least no HOD is writing to industry. They have to write. They are not even sending from pharmacology to medicine in the same institution. Ye 2 mahine ke liye they will go away and all that. So that has to come from within us only. Issue is departments.
Sir, we can post pre-lunch and post-lunch in medicine department, pre-lunch for pharmacology. We can
No,
do
why, sir?
this.
Why, sir? When it is written, post them for a month in medicine. Let them go. Allow them to get experience.
Okay.
Then they will have a continuity and some experience. Post lunch, after lunch, वो बनता नहीं है. Then we know also what they do. Okay, a continuity
Yeah,
experience should be there. Yeah.
yeah. What I feel, sir, if NMC really makes it mandatory, so that
Sir, it
once
is
we put,
mandatory. It is written in the curriculum. We are not
yeah,
doing.
but still, we are passing our
For each line,
students.
they can't write this is mandatory. It means in the curriculum, other lines are not mandatory. Whatever written in
Yeah,
the curriculum, it is mandatory.
yeah, but that is something which has to be done because I feel for our students, sir, if we can do something so that they can get, industry posting, it will be really
Yeah.
very
Like
beneficial
Dr.
for the
Manoj talked
students.
about case-based
That
learning. Many people are doing. We are doing for 15 years. Now it's a mandatory
yeah,
part because of
it is
integration.
happening now.
Yeah, many
Yeah,
places. So
yeah.
some people are still not doing. And I asked them, an MBBS curriculum changed in India 2019. Sometimes they crib, we have changed, why we have changed, and it will not be implemented. 100% नहीं हुआ. I said last वाला 97 का था, 1997, 25 years. Have you implemented that? Then there is a silence. A lot of things are there, but we are at a variable stage in India. The implementation stage at various stages in the India, and we go as per that only. Some institution in people are going to industry also, sir, and all their 6 months postings are there. Logbooks are maintained since e-logbooks are mandatory, So all things are happening. I think it's only the department which has to gear up to those things.
Yeah. Fine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's hope for the best. Thank you.
Since we are, tight on schedule, and Dr. Viraj also will have to move on to his next meeting. Thank you, Dinesh sir, for the insights and inputs, and Dr. Jitendra sir, thank you. We have now come to the closing for today. I wish to thank both our speakers for today, Dr. Viraj Rajadiksha as well as Dr. Anchal Goalani. I thank all our moderators for today, Dr. Swapna Bolegave, Dr. Dinesh Badial sir, Dr. Manoj Saurabh. Thank you very much for your inputs. Last but not the least, I wish to thank Major Dr. Jitendra Singh, who is the chairman for this program. Thank you, Kamal sir, who is the national coordinator for this program. We have had a very insightful and a wonderful discussion. That the things and experiences that are discussed here on this platform are priceless. So I thank all the students for your active participation. It really made a difference today. And we have completed 3 strong days of this session. I will look forward to meeting all of you all in the coming session next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reshma. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, sir, Kamal, please.
Most of the research person and process are available in this separate system. So most of the students are asking how it is possible that they can be integrated to the pharmaceutical industry. So in this current scenario, this clinical research and pharmaceutical industry are available in the major cities, are it may not be possible for a student who is pursuing MD at Kannur or some other remote areas being connected to pharmaceutical industry. So there are two practical permissions, and we at National Association of Oncology and Therapeutic Strategy constant efforts to support our other colleagues like Dr. Dinesh Badiakar is also in NIT board also, and he has done a lot of efforts of pushing these things that we are able to see today. So there are two solutions in my mind. One is that each and every medical college or pharmaceutical department can start a clinical research division. I have worked in the pharmaceutical industry as a clinical research division. So we are searching online that what are those medical colleges which are having established a clinical research division. It is very easy to establish without much investment. Second option is that after having postgraduate MD pharmacology, this is my personal suggestion after completing all the requisites like SRC and all, students should join pharmaceutical industry at least for 6 months. Even if they are not willing to join for a permanent period of time, they can decide later on, but 6 months mandatory, and there is nobody who is the urging them to join the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry are welcoming the sector and the pharmacology students. And after working in 6 months, they will be paid for it. And they can gain a research. It is on the job, experience and training. So all of the trainings and experiences may not be possible to gain through MD pharmacology course. So these are two practical solutions that can be worked upon, of course, with the passage of time, when we will be putting our specialty, pharmacology and therapeutics through concentrated efforts. We will be able to do that. Our vision and mission and dream that every pharmacology student should be sent to a pharmaceutical industry for an internship. Thank you.
Reshma?
Reshma, Dr. Reshma, you can contribute this session. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Dr. Reshma, can you hear us?
You can conclude the session on behalf of Dr.
Yeah.